All right, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Sunday Night Bites, our weekly chill stream of fishing. Tonight we are going to Toledo Bend. This is the lake where we have caught the least amount of fish before. So I figured we're going to go somewhere. Let's go to somewhere where we really haven't done so well, and see what we can do. And now, as you can see, this is a kind of interesting layout because it does have some of those big inlet areas like sticking out. It's kind of nice, actually. We'll head to the left, or actually it's to the right here, and cut through some of those and see what we can get over there. Wait a minute. Was Toledo Bend, was this the area with the glitches? And we were joking that was like Bloodborne? This might have been it. Guess we'll have to see. Okay. So, Canada number one, just so everyone knows. Canada number one is someone who's been on the streams recently and been supportive, but has basically been pushing the boundaries of what they say on the stream. Half the time when Canada number one says something in the stream, YouTube auto blocks it because this person is using language that they know is not allowed on YouTube or in my chat. They're saying risque things, they're saying offensive things on purpose. It's called pushing the boundaries, testing the water, seeing how far you can go without getting into trouble. So this person has been moderated multiple times before appropriately. They tell me they're going to change. They don't. They come back, and then they get banned again. This is like the second or third time this has happened. So now, Canada number one, as we're starting off tonight, it's supposed to be a nice, chill stream, just be $4.20, and says this. Just listen to this. Why don't you ever have my back? I always have yours. I got rid of all of your trolls myself. I've been financially there for you every time streams were low. Never insult a moderator, but you let one mod always ban me, a non-moderator and Eternal Napalm. Why? You literally just listed two different moderators. All right? So Canada number one, here's the thing. All right? If it would have been a one-off time, oh, big deal. It's one time this happened. Not, oh, maybe it was a fluke. Maybe you were just having a bad day or whatever. Right? Okay, fair enough. But once you start getting moderated by multiple different moderators, when you have stream chatters complaining, when literally every other word out of your mouth I see YouTube blocks because you actually say words not allowed in the profanity filters, okay? I know it's not just the moderators and no one has a grudge against you. It's you, all right? So Canada number one, you have to change your attitude. You have to. You can't be here trying to bring down my streams, trying to say risque shit. No one cares. No one cares that you're trying to turn this into your little private little show where you can say stupid shit. No one cares. Really, nobody cares about you trying to push the boundaries, all right? You're trying to entertain yourself in a way that's not the point of this stream. So you've already now made me waste several minutes here derailing the stream, okay? I'm going to put your tip on the leaderboard simply because it's out of respect of you contributing, and I appreciate that. But I'm not unbanning you. Not until you somehow show a concerted effort that you're going to change your ways. Not that you're going to come back and bitch in a tip saying that someone has an agenda against you and that you single-handedly got rid of all of my trolls. You're out of your mind. All right? So, take some time away from the streams, all right? Hopefully you can figure shit out for yourself. And hopefully you can come back, maybe email me at some point and ask for an unban and say you're not going to act like this anymore. But at this point, literally your actions at this very moment have proven why I don't want to let you back in the chat. Okay? This is not your stream. It's all of ours to chill and relax. It's not your show or your stream or your playground to mess around and try to derail. So that's why you're banned. Okay, fair enough. Now that's over with. Derek says it was St. John's River that had the plant glitches. That was on August 21st, a month ago. Lovecraftian horror. Jeez. Okay. Oh, by the way, wait a minute. What's going on here? Where's our radar? Where's the radar? There it is. I was like, huh? I was very confused. I was like, hold on. I'm really screwing this up. Here we go. I want the dual. That's what I want. I want the dual readout, the map as well as the radar. Cool. All right, excellent. Gamer Guy has given me $5, so let's bring back the positive vibes, everyone. Sunday Night Chill stream. Thank you, Gamer Guy. Appreciate that. I just screwed up the leaderboard. Hold on. I agree. Let's head out here. Let's find a good spot. And let's see what you guys feel like talking about tonight. Turtle Dude says it would be cool to see a modernized playthrough of Uncharted 4 with the PlayStation 5 Legacy Collection. Now, is it not true that you have to buy it? That even if you own Uncharted 4 for PlayStation 4, that you still have to rebuy this version on PS5? I think you have to. I don't think it's free. And I'm not sure if it's under the PS Plus Premium plan or not. I don't know. Like, right now, I don't think I feel like playing it, only because I just replayed Uncharted 2, if you remember, a few months ago. That was one of my things that I did for early summer chill, and there was not much going on. So I don't think I would want to play Uncharted 4 right away. Maybe somewhere down the line I would like to, but I don't think right now. I do not have a favorite food to eat. Some people ask me this question from time to time. I do not have a favorite food to eat. In fact, I'm the kind of person that if I actually eat the same food all the time, I don't like it. I actually lose interest in it. I like variety. Much like gaming, right? Like, sure, there's staples of gaming I like to go back to, like Street Fighter and stuff like that. But if I didn't do variety of games I played, I get bored with it and I would not be interested in it. And that's how I also am with food. Like, I don't want to have the same meal 2-3 times a week. I don't even want to have it every week. It would be nice to alternate between a bunch of different stuff, you see? Oh, fuck. Derek says, I was watching an old video where you were talking about possibly being recruited to the military. Was I ever serious about joining or thought about joining? Let me find a fishing spot and I can answer that, but basically when I was graduating high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and everyone else is like, oh, I want to go into this, I want to go into this. I was like, I don't know what I want to go into. Like, I literally have no idea. Okay? So, you know, my dad had been in the Marines and had said to me, you know, maybe you want to consider applying to maybe be in the Army or the Marines or whatever. Think about it. And I remember I went to a local recruitment office. I made an appointment, and I went in there, and the guy who was there was a nice guy, okay? And actually, hold on. What lure do I want to use? We'll start with the rattle trap tonight. We'll give this a shot, okay? He was a nice guy. Told me all about it. And basically, based off my qualifications, meaning I was the valedictorian of my high school. I had all these extracurriculars. I had everything under my belt. I was physically fit back then. So, you know, it wasn't like I was chubby like I am now, but I was like, you know, you see I was athletic. And basically the guy was like, you know, with all of your qualifications, as long as you pass the general basic training and all of that, we would likely try to get you into an officer's program because of, you know, you're top of your class and everything. And that's the kind of thing we look for in that. And I was interested at that time. I didn't know exactly what it was going to entail. Keep in mind, this was around 1999. All right. So this is before 9/11 happened. This is before all the crazy shit that went down. That is the smallest fish. I was telling the story. I didn't even look at the fish I caught. Holy crap. Is that thing even... What happened? It looks like it shrunk. They put it in a washer and it shrunk. That is like the smallest fish I've ever seen. Good Lord. Okay, anyway. Thank you to Shia for a $2 tip. So my dad has been in a fishing tournament at Toledo Bend. Oh, so your dad was actually literally at where we are right now in the game and fishing in real life. That's kind of neat. See, that's cool to know that the game took realistic areas and that people have actually been there. Of course, it's not very realistic that you're the only person fishing, but that's nice. Thank you, Shia, for the tip. How do you submit a tip? Type !tip into the stream chat. A command should pop up. You can click on a link. And it should be self-explanatory. If you have issues, like if the button's grayed out, let me know. Tag me in the chat and let me know. And I'll let you know how to fix that because there are some issues sometimes that happen, but hopefully no issue occurs. Thank you for asking, AK. Okay, back to the story. So basically I have this interesting meeting with this recruiter. And the guy's, like I said, he's really nice. And all the things he's telling me are interesting. He's basically like, you know, it's an honorable thing to serve your country. And plus, you can get all this money to go to school. You know, all this stuff. He's basically telling me all this great stuff. This all sounds good to me, honestly. All right? And after basically, I think it was about a half an hour, 45-minute kind of recruitment interview with the recruiter. All right? Basically, at the end, he's like, so what do you think? And I was like, well, I'll be honest with you. I like everything you've told me. It sounds good to me. Okay, this was 1999, keep in mind. All right? So it sounds good to me. And honestly, I have no idea what I want to do with the rest of my life. I just don't know. So I want to think. This is not me saying yes or no. I'll tell you, I am interested. What you've told me is interesting to me. And what I'd like to do is think about it for a little while. And I'll get back to you. So can I have information or whatever to follow up? if I make a decision that I want to come back, we can further the discussion. Okay, so basically, he says, okay, so you're not sure you want to do it yet. And I was like, no, that's kind of what I just said. So he gave me the information. It was like a packet and like his card. He gave me his card with his number. And he goes, as I was walking out the door, I still will not forget this. It's been over 25 years, well, about 23 years since this happened. But I still remember the guy looked at me with the smirkest, most cocky, egotistical, full of himself kind of look I think I might have ever seen on someone's face. And he looks at me and he goes, just like this. He goes, I know you'll be back. Just like that. Now, everything up to that point, I liked. But when someone literally goes, I know you're going to be back, man. You know, that was seriously it. I'm not even kidding. It completely turned me off. And even if maybe that would have been a great choice for me for my life, just that guy's attitude of acting like that, 100% turned me off. I was like, I'm not going back. And I never did. I never considered it again. After that, I was like, and that's the recruiter. Like, that's the guy who they're putting out front to represent the armed forces and make you want to join. And he's an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would think they would put someone there that's not like that. And I couldn't believe how he would, that when he did that, I was like totally taken aback. Because like I said, the entire meeting up to that point was not of that tone at all. It was more like very informative. He was trying to explain why this would be a great thing for me in my life and the legacy of the armed forces in the United States, what an honor it is and how you're held in high regard by people around you, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I really couldn't believe it. And here's the thing with me, and I've told you guys this before, all right? I don't like to be told things like, if you convince me this is something good for you and here's why, and here's the whole reason why, this is why you should or shouldn't do something. That I love. Give me a full reasoning and explanation. Allow me to understand something I don't understand. I'm open-minded in that regard. What I don't like is when people outright tell me, no, you can't do that, and you know, a bullshit reason, oh, because you're not good enough, or this or that, some insulting way. Or on the flip side of that, oh, you absolutely should do it no matter what, just do it. Those are the two things in my life that really have irked me the wrong way and pissed me off. And this guy just oozed that at the end of that meeting. And I was like, you know, who knows how different my life would have been if that recruiter had been a different recruiter, right? Because you got to remember something. That was 1999. What if when I graduated in the year 2000, I did decide to join the armed forces? And what if within that first year, 9/11 happens, right? And now, they got me shipping off to the Middle East. Right? Right? And we're over there fighting wars and shit that have nothing whatsoever to do with 9/11. Remember, we went to Iraq and shit? For what? It had nothing to do with it. But we were doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that would have been quite an interesting situation. And it's kind of funny because, again, I'm not a superstitious guy. I don't necessarily believe in that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that there's ghosts. I don't believe in destiny. I don't believe in anything like supernatural or anything like that. But they do say, there's a saying that things happen for a reason. Just maybe that guy was destined to be a cocky asshole to me at that moment in life so that I would understand that was not for me. And maybe really I dodged a bullet. You know what I mean? Now, by the way, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to say that that guy is representative of everyone in the American Armed Forces. Couldn't be further from the truth. I've actually really known a lot of people who are very nice people who are in the armed forces. And I tremendously respect those in the armed forces. I want to say to anyone out there who has ever served and watched my content, thank you so very much. I really appreciate the fact that you make that sacrifice, that you put your life on the line so that us Americans can have the freedoms and the abilities that we have. I 1,000,000% respect and understand that part of what you do. But seriously, with that situation and the way it went down, and the fact that that guy's attitude, like this changed out of nowhere, and it threw me for such a loop that his attitude had changed so quickly at the end of that meeting, because I basically wasn't completely sold on signing up right then and there, that he said that cocky thing. So, like I said, maybe it was for the best. I don't know. You know, maybe I was destiny, maybe it wasn't. I have no idea. But that's it. That's literally the only kind of interaction or relation that I ever had until I knew, considering, you know, going to the armed forces and enlisting or anything. So there's the story. I told it many times before. So, ow. So, AK has done a $20 super chat. Thank you, AK. He says the tip wasn't working. I apologize. I don't know what you mean by that. If you mean that the button was grayed out, how you fix that is literally, so let's say you're going to tip. You log in with your information, whether your Twitch login, your YouTube login, so it proves your credentials, that you're a real person, you're not a bot, okay? I did have some issues years back with people coming in with bot accounts and doing fake tips and charging them all back. So that's why we have that level of protection there. So you log in with your information. You go to send a tip. Oh, it's grayed out. All you got to do is click on the tips link a second time. It refreshes the page. You're good. Okay? But anyway, thank you for this super chat. He says, I've been a fan a long time. I've been watching you before Heavy Rain. I want to say thank you for the years of content and keep it up. Thank you very much to AK for that. I really appreciate that super chat. Just so everyone knows, just to reiterate, when I do Sunday Night Bites, it's all about trying to get the fisherman's hat with $100 in tips raised and adding new lures. I showed this to the audience earlier tonight, but we have new lures in the rotation. Another fan has donated fishing lures for Sunday Night Bites. They're huge compared to the other ones that we had in the running. So it would be nice if we could hit that goal tonight and add a new lure to the hat. We didn't last week. We'll see what happens this week. Okay? Anyway, AK, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, let's see here. Trina did a super chat saying I should do charity for this and that. All right. In a nutshell, I believe that charity is something that should be private. When I was growing up, I was raised Roman Catholic. And as a Roman Catholic, I was taught charity is not something for public attention. Charity is not something for personal gain. Charity is something that you do to just help someone and literally get nothing out of it, okay? And if you are doing something charity or charitable, but you actually publicize it, you make it known as something public, you're actually going against the spirit of charity. Like that's what he said, like Jesus Christ, when he was doing all these charitable works, didn't go out, you know, trying to make himself famous. He was just trying to help people. And he became well known for being that kind of a person. See what I'm saying? So for me, if I do charity, I will do it privately. And I'm not going to tell you about it, but over the years, every once in a while, I do something. Maybe I make a donation, or I you know, have donated time in my life in the past. It all depends, but, you know, that's up to me. You're not going to see me doing some kind of a crazy charity event stream to make me look better. Now, maybe one day that will change, and maybe maybe I'll be able to reduce the amount of negative element that I have on the internet. And if ever I could reduce that amount of negative element that I have and maybe see that, oh, if I do this, this would really work out and it wouldn't be negative in any way, shape, or form. Maybe then I would do it, but I'll give you guys an example. In 2015, I actually had planned, all right, on doing an actual charity event. This was when I was still pretty popular on YouTube. This is before my major decline on my YouTube channel, okay? So, at that time, there was actually some people on YouTube who liked me, all right? So without spoiling, I don't want to name names because basically the whole thing fell through. I had several people lined up to attend a charity event with me, and what it was going to be was a live stream where I was going to play a variety of games. There was going to be some online multiplayer with a couple different streamers and content creators at the time, and we were going to try to raise funds for a good cause. And basically, I was in the planning stages of doing this, all right? And two things happened that year that deterred me from doing it, all right? The first thing that happened was that for some odd reason in 2015, everyone on the internet started to hate me. And I think it might have been the rise of This Is How You Don't Play becoming more toxic, and people really trying to like stretch out and hurt me and my family rather than just make fun of me. It became more like, gee, how do we hurt Dark Side Phil? So what ended up happening was a series of events in a short period of time, including me getting DDoS attacked constantly, me getting swatted for the only time, thankfully, that it ever happened to me, as well as a series of concentrated attacks against DSPGaming to try to get my business to basically go out of business. They were actually literally trying to like commit crimes against me to make DSPGaming fail as a business and make me have to get another kind of job. Okay? So all this happened within like a 6-month period. And every time that one of these things happened, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to let it cool down a little bit. I'm going to let it calm down a little more, and hopefully the negativity will die off, and then I can do this charity event. I've been dying to do it. I want to do it. And it just kept escalating. Like, that year just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And I never told anyone about this till years later. So it wasn't like, oh, this was, people trying to thwart the charity event. People didn't even know I was doing it. And there was so much negativity and toxicity thrown towards me that way, that year, that I figured I'm just going to not do it right now. It's not the right time. Now, in addition to all of that happening, you guys may not know this, but there is a group of content creators on the internet that used to exist called the Creatures. This was a group of content creators that came together and actually started working together in an office environment, and they did all kinds of cooperative gameplay. I believe at one point they were even doing competitive games, like they were trying to competitively play one of those games that popped up out of nowhere. So anyway, they used to like me and watch my content. In particular, SHOHPKC, who was one of the originators of the group, was actually a fan of mine who was inspired by me, and actually had said many times over the years, I was one of the reasons that he ever made content for the internet. He was watching my content, and he was inspired to do it. So him and the Creatures were actually friends of mine behind the scenes, and every once in a while I would talk to SHOHPKC about stuff. And incidentally, that same year, all right, the same freaking year that I was planning to do a charity event, they did a charity event, and they got swatted during the charity event. Like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? They're literally doing this to help people. The whole point of the event is to raise money for a good cause, and some pieces of shit swatted them during the fucking charity event. Like, why would you do that? It blows my mind. Like, how much of a scumbag can you be? All right? So it was like a combination of factors. It was like, everything possible negative is happening to me, and at the same time, some guys that I'm friendly with on the internet also just got swatted during a charity event. Gee, maybe this is a bad idea. All right? So since then, I always said, here's what my philosophy would be. If I notice a change in attitude towards me on the internet, if I happen to notice that people were nicer, people were stopping the hate, people were not going to be toxic and try to do all kinds of messed up stuff to me and my family as a result of me being an internet content creator, then I would consider doing a charity event again. But in the meantime, if anything, if I'm going to do charity, I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm just going to have it be private. Like, I was raised as a Catholic. Just keep it to yourself. Don't try to, not something to publicize. And you do it to do the right thing behind the scenes, and that's why you do it. And that's it. Okay? So that's really what's happened. Now, since 2015, how has the attitude of the internet changed towards me? All right? Now, admittedly, I will say this. By the way, I'm stuck on nothing. What am I stuck on? Okay. Okay, so how has the attitude of the internet been towards me, right, since 2015? Well, gee, should we really talk about this? I mean, people have literally, at every waking turn, tried to do whatever they can to fuck with me. You know what I mean? Things offline, online, regardless of the business, regarding to personal stuff. Perfect example of this. What happened here? Did it get caught? Oh, it didn't. Oh, the water's too shallow. Okay, we can't even do this. Yeah, I gotta get out of here. This is a bad spot. A perfect example of this would be thus. My wife, Kat, all right, moved in here with me 4 years ago, all right? And when she moved in with me, we were fully intending, 100%, that she was actually going to be a part of my content from time to time. She was not going to be someone who was going to consistently be a part of the content. Maybe every once in a while we do something special, all right? Maybe every once in a while there'd be a co-op playthrough, or maybe a special event like cooking together and stuff like that. And, we tested the waters. She was on my streams a few times doing Q&A and stuff with me, right? And then the kicker was that she was on the Halloween event with me that year, 2018. And that was actually the last time Kat was ever seen in any of my content. It's been over 4 years now. Well, about 4 years now. And you might say, well, why? Because on that stream, no exaggeration, she shows up. So I want you to think about this. And by the way, a lot of tips have come in. I'm going to shout them out, but I'm telling a story, okay? She spent money. She spent personal time putting effort into a Halloween costume. It was a steampunk Halloween costume, okay? And we even talked together about what games, you know what I'm saying, to play together and all of that. She was a big part of, oh, I really want to do commentary with you on this game and this game. We're playing the first game, which is Silent Hill, the one with the frozen shit. It's on the Wii. It's a terrible game, by the way. We didn't know. We had never played it before. So we're playing the game. It's bad. The controls are absolutely terrible. It's a bad game. What are you going to do, right? So at first she's enjoying herself, and then she starts looking at the chat. And she realizes that trolls are flooding into my Twitch chat. Remember, this was 4 years ago. I was on Twitch. Trolls are flooding in and saying absolutely disgusting, misogynistic, really insulting things about how she looks. And then they start bringing up shit, I kid you not, about her past. They start saying the name of her ex-boyfriend. They start saying the most vile, disgusting, fucked up shit that you would say on someone's stream. What the fuck does that have to do with my wife, out of the kindness of her heart, appearing on my stream with me to do a holiday event, right? So essentially what they did is they did everything possible to make her feel awful. So within the first hour and a half of her being on the stream, we went on a break. And we went off stream. I'm going to be honest with you guys now, okay? Because I never really told you the full story. She was crying after that. And she's telling me, I can't believe those people were so mean to me. All I wanted to do was do something nice. And here, you know, this is how they treat me. And I told her, I was like, listen, you got to understand something. All right? That wasn't for you. That was for me. That's because these people are so sick that they hate me so much. That's why they did that. You know, they didn't do it necessarily because you did anything wrong. And you have to understand that it wasn't you. It's me. These people will do absolutely anything they can to hurt me. Okay? So, she was so hurt and upset, right, that she never came back in my content ever again. Now, the funny part is, how did the trolls spin it? Oh, look at how uncomfortable she looked. Take a look at this screen grab of her and how unhappy she is in the Halloween event. Phil must have forced her to be in it. So, no, that was you. That was you, you piece of shit. You caused her to look and act like that because she was going to have fun, and you ruined it for her to the point where she never wants to come back. She has a negative association with this stream that if she comes on here, all that's going to happen is people are going to insult her and attack her. I don't blame her for feeling that way. Why would I? Right? And the thing, this is what we've learned over the years, is that the more that we give the trolls to work with, right, the worse it gets. So the moment she comes on here, even though she hasn't been on this stream in 4 years, the moment she comes on here, all you'll see is the trolls completely being disgusting to her. You know? And we're not dumb. We know that. So why put her in that position? But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's my wife. That's someone who has nothing to do with negativity or toxicity with me, and that's how they treat her. Can you fucking imagine if I tried to do a charity event of any kind? How it would go? The moment that I tried to do something good like that, they would probably be trying to swat. They would probably be trying to do every possible fucked up negative thing they could possibly do. You know what I'm saying? Anything. So, there you go. And by the way, I shit you not, in the chat there is a troll, alright, trying to tell me that it's my fault because I played games during Halloween that weren't co-op games. She didn't want to play the game. She wanted to watch and do co-commentary. You guys act like these trolls are so fucking dumb. They literally believe, alright, that like I don't talk to her. I don't talk to my own wife. We totally didn't plan the event and talk about the games that you guys had voted for and were selected and how we were go about doing the commentary and how she said, oh, it's fine. What I want to do is watch you play and you can do we can do co-commentary. Like, we didn't discuss this ahead of time, right? You're a fucking degenerate moron. Go do yourself a favor. Commit yourself right now. Drop everything you're doing. Go right to the nut house and commit yourself. Check yourself right in because you're a fucking loony. You need to be out of freedom because you are not helping anything on this planet with the shit you say and do. It's seriously out of control how crazy these fucking people are. All right? But as if to not confirm what I just said, they just confirmed it. So that's what I mean. Can you imagine if I tried to do a charity event, how bad it would get? They'd be fucking swatting me. They would be doing every possible thing. They'd probably try to do, you know, false copyright checks. Hit them with everything possible to shut down the charity event. So there's no point. There's absolutely positively no point to it. That's why you don't see my wife in my content. That's why you don't see charity events. It's a waste of everyone's time. It just is. Okay? Thank you for listening to a very, very long-winded explanation. Now, shout-outs for a ton of contributions that just came in. Yoshi to me, $4.21 says, I saw a spider on your wall and it looked pretty big. I don't see a spider on the wall. Thank you for the tip. Watch it land on my head now that I said that. Chef D tipped me $8. He says, Magic 8 Ball, will we get a new lure today? Chef D wants to ask the Magic 8 Ball, will we have a new lure? And that is the top tip of the day so far, by the way. Here we go. Most likely. I'm not kidding. He says most likely. Cool. You know what I noticed? This 8 Ball has a lot of answers, doesn't it? Because I thought it only had a few. There's a ton of answers. We've gotten a lot of different ones. That's kind of neat. So most likely, we'll hit the goal tonight. Thank you to Chef D. Let's get that on the leaderboard. That is the biggest tip so far. Oops. Very nice. You know what? I don't want to hear that engine running when I'm talking to you guys. There we go. The Snorlax King is to me $6. And asks, are you surprised Cyberpunk 2077 anime Edge Runners has received critical acclaim and caused the game to explode in popularity? The anime has been such a hit. Many are revisiting the game, appreciating it more, and calling it much improved. I actually wanted to talk about this on today's podcast, and it completely slipped my mind because we got into a big discussion about Modern Warfare 2 beta, and then I forgot all about it, all right? Do you want to talk about this tonight? We can if you want, or we could talk about it on the podcast because I actually have a good amount to say about it. Okay. How about this, Snorlax King? Let's get through all the other shout-outs, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about it, okay? Snorlax King actually did a second $2 tip and said, do you think due to the success of Edge Runners, we'll see more tie-in animes and movies? Edge Runner shows if you make a great media tie-in, it can make a difference for the main game and bring in new people. Again, let's talk about that in a moment, and I swear to you, I won't forget. Let's do it in a moment, but there's some other shout-outs to do quickly. Screeching Buzzard to the $1.50 says, a shrill creature that delights in the misery of others, what's not to love? Sounds like my trolls. So there you go. Thank you for that tip, person who seems to quote Magic the Gathering cards and stuff. And then the cat just tipped me $8, says, ask Magic 8 Ball if I should be a mod or not, laughing out loud. Should the cat be a moderator or not? Ask again later. Remind me later to ask again, and I will. The cat. Also, big ups to Kat and her and Jasper. I hope they're doing well. I got an additional put on the menu at work. I had the option to buy the kitchen a beer. So you got put in charge of choosing a beer for the kitchen where you work. That's kind of neat. By the way, did I just add these up correctly? Now I get the feeling I lost control. Hold on a second here. So, 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 23, 29, 31, 32. We should be at 40. We should actually be at 40. Okay. I thought that I had forgotten one. We should be at $40 in tips. So thank you to the cat for that $8 tip. Sadly, Chef D tipped $8 before you. So they get priority. All right. Let's find a fishing spot, and I'm going to answer this question here for Snorlax. Now, wait a minute. Big Fuzzy Hat just tipped $8 and says, Magic 8 Ball, will the owl that used to live in my shed come back? Will the owl come back for Big Fuzzy Hat? Very doubtful. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Big Fuzzy Hat. Say goodbye to the owl. You'll never see it ever again. It has moved on, and it's best if you move on as well. Don't dwell on the past. Move forward towards a positive future without that owl. Thank you very much. And actually, Snorlax King just did a super chat and says, this is why I'm glad I stopped watching these people. He's talking about the haters because he used to watch hater content, admittedly, he said. Before he actually became a fan of my stuff. Cat doesn't deserve any of that. The psychopaths need professional help. Real talk. I 1,000,000% agree. Anyone who would harass someone's wife who has nothing to do with the negativity even associated with them. Even if you hate me, why would you do that to my wife? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But let's not talk about that all right? Let's continue. Now, as we find another fishing spot. In regards to Edge Runners and Cyberpunk, let's talk. If those who don't know, Cyberpunk 2077 flopped huge 2 years ago when it released. It was an unfinished, broken, buggy piece of garbage game. Personally, yes, I criticized it for that in my review, but my review more focused on the fact that I didn't like the universe. I didn't like the plot. There was many things about the game I just didn't enjoy, and I felt that even if it wasn't buggy, it still would not be a great game. Okay, that was my opinion. And some people agree and some people don't. You don't have to agree, but that was my take on it. Okay, now here we are almost 2 years later, right? And 2 years later, this game has gotten tons of patches, supposed improvements from CD Projekt Red. You know, they really put a lot of time and effort into repairing the mistakes they made. They overpromised, they underdelivered, and even what they delivered was broken and not working in a buggy mess. So, in 2 years, I've heard that they've basically really improved a lot. And that's a good thing. I'm glad that they did. And for anyone who is dying to play Cyberpunk and maybe either held off, or maybe played it at first and realized how bad it was, and so then you said, I'll play it later, good for you if you come back to it. But what's happened in the last week and a half is pretty remarkable. It basically, lightning is stricken twice. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, a year or two ago was when the original Witcher television series premiered on Netflix. And when it premiered, it became very popular. It was one of the most watched shows on Netflix at the time. And people were like, oh, well, there's a game? I never even knew that there was a video game. So people went out in droves and bought The Witcher 3. Now, at this point, The Witcher 3 was an old game. And it was sold at a much discounted price. You could probably get Witcher 3 for like $20, if not even cheaper, in most places. So being that, number one, everyone seemed to like the show. Number two, the game was already critically acclaimed. And number three, the game was being sold for an incredible discount because it was old already. It sold like crazy. And what ended up happening was The Witcher 3, for a short period of time, I want to say it was like a few weeks to maybe a month, ended up being one of, if not the highest played games on Steam and other on Steam and other places. I have to change my battery. If you guys could bear with me while I just swap my controller battery out, okay? Excuse me. What just happened? The hell? There we go. Alright. So, it was kind of interesting because some people at that time were like, oh, maybe it's a fluke. That a Netflix show, right, could be a direct tie-in with a video game, and the show's so well received by mainstream viewers, not necessarily gamers, but they like it so much they want to go play the game. Oh, by the way, the game is cheap, so you could run out and buy it on the cheap, and just so many people bought it, the numbers skyrocketed. So it was actually like a record at the time. I think they were saying like the most they've ever seen a game like that get on Steam, you know, number of players, concurrent, and not only Steam, but it ended up selling everywhere. It ended up selling on consoles and everything. So there was a nice big injection of popularity for The Witcher. And now, as you've seen, there's been a season 2 of the show. They're actually doing a Witcher spin-off show. So essentially now what's happened is they realized that this could actually reinvigorate a game franchise. Okay? So, just this last week, a new anime released on Netflix. So you want to talk about lightning striking twice. This is now almost 2 years after Cyberpunk 2077 is a failure. You know, critically, people panned it for being buggy as shit. And basically was taken off of PlayStation Network for a while because it was a messed up game. You know what I'm saying? You know, basically every possible negative thing. So this obviously was a failure story, right? Edge Runners comes out, and what happens? So everyone says Edge Runners is a superb anime. Everyone likes it, all right? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't have Netflix. You know, kind of same thing happened with that League of Legends anime or whatever, too, and I didn't see that either. I really don't care. I'm not going to watch it. I don't care about League of Legends, you know. But people love this anime. They say it's seriously good. It's ridiculously good, and you got to see it. So everyone rushes to Netflix to watch it. It's super popular. And people are like, oh, did you know this is based off of a video game from 2 years ago? No, I didn't know that. So people started looking for the game and come to find out Cyberpunk 2077 is only $10. The game failed so miserably 2 years ago with no residual sales. Initially, it sold very well because everyone pre-ordered it. But then, so many people complained about it being broken and having all kinds of problems, right? Tons of people ended up getting refunds for it, causing CD Projekt Red to lose some money. And then on top of that, there was no residual sales. Usually with a giant AAA game like that, you get that initial sales boost, it calms down, but over time, you still get more word-of-mouth sales, and you still get sales and stuff where the game sells. That did not happen with Cyberpunk. It was like initial sales giant and then nothing. Okay? So all of a sudden, because this Edge Runner series is out, people are like, oh, this is exactly like The Witcher. Well, we didn't know about the game, but we like the show, so now we want to play the game. So they go out there and they come to find out Cyberpunk, not only has it been patched multiple times over the last 2 years to make it a better game, but also it's $10. So what happened? Sales of Cyberpunk absolutely skyrocketed because it's a $10 game. All right? So again, it's like lightning strikes twice. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, it's now one of the top played games on Steam, just like Witcher was. It's like basically exactly the same situation a second time. All right. So what do I feel about this? All right. First of all, I think it's interesting how this is working because a lot of the times you have these tie-in shows and movies, and they're so far removed from the source material that by the time people watch them, they don't really understand that there's a game behind it. They don't really care, right? Like, I'll give you an example about this. Sonic the Hedgehog had potential to sell ridiculous amounts of video games. I don't think it did because there was no real games out. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they had timed the Sonic the Hedgehog movies to come out in conjunction with video games, I think those video games would have been insanely ginormous sellers. I really feel that way. They would have had their best-selling Sonic games of all time. But instead, they didn't do that, and they really missed out on what I feel would have been a giant opportunity to make Sonic the Hedgehog prominent again, and not only prominent, but prominent to a new mainstream audience, right? I mean, sure, guys like me, I'm nostalgic. I played the Sonic games in the 90s. I go back to them from time to time when there's a new one, but that's a little different than, oh, someone who doesn't even know who Sonic is saw the movie, loved it, and now they run out and buy all the Sonic merch and games. They didn't capitalize on that, and that really blows my mind that they didn't. CD Projekt Red basically did it twice in a row. You know what I'm saying? It's 2 games, one, Witcher 3, widely regarded as one of the best RPGs of all time, but very old, and they ended up selling a ton of copies of it just because people wanted to play the game after watching the show. Cyberpunk, a game that flopped miserably at launch, but then they fixed it over the last 2 years, and now people want more of that universe because they like the anime, and now it's selling in droves. You see? So it's unique and it's interesting for sure. CD Projekt Red, I don't feel that they're a bad game dev. I just feel like they really went wrong with the way that they developed the way they developed Cyberpunk, overpromising, underdelivering, redesigning the game from start to finish a million times. You know what I'm saying? They made a lot of mistakes, and I like the game dev. I hope that the future games they make, they've learned from their mistakes, and it doesn't affect them in the long term. I really hope for the best for them. At the same time, you don't really know what's going to happen, but this is exciting for them. But I do have something to say. I do have something to say in this that no one has said before, all right? Because here's what I'm seeing on social media about it. I'm seeing literally every game website, every journalistic person who covers video games, covering it as if it's like, oh my God, it's the redemption story. It is absolutely positively success, and yes, it took 2 years, but finally, Cyberpunk is having success, and you see, we always said it was a good game. You guys just didn't believe, but now here we are 2 years later, and now you're seeing that it's a good game. All right? Bullshit. Okay, I'm sorry. Bullshit. This is not what's happening at all. People saw the anime. They're buying the game as a result of the anime, not the game itself. That game might have nothing even tie into the anime, but just because it's set in the same universe, they want to play it. You see? And one thing that none of these journalists are saying, which is ludicrous. Ooh, it's a big fish I finally caught. One thing none of these journalists are saying.
I'm not going to set any records with that one. But at least it's a good, solid keeper.
It's a solid keeper because it's trophy size, meaning you can keep the fish. First one today that I can actually do that, right? So, here's what the journalists are not admitting, okay? The reason why Witcher 3 was such a ginormous hit when the Netflix show came out, and the reason why Cyberpunk 2077 is a ginormous hit today is because it's a discounted game. This is not a full $60 or $70 purchase. It's $10. You could go to Best Buy, Walmart, Amazon, and buy the game for $10. So, of course, if you just watched an anime and you had a ton of fun with it, even if you have no intention of even playing the whole game, I had $10. I'll throw it at the game and give it a shot and see if it's anything like the show I just watched that I like. Of course that's going to happen, right? But no journalists are talking like that. They're acting like the game just came out and it's selling bestseller for full price. No, it's selling because it's cheap. If it was $70, it would not be doing what it's doing right now. You know what I'm saying? But I hate to say it, the fanboyism is showing. A lot of these games journalists were CD Projekt Red fanboys. And they were so flabbergasted when the game came out and flopped. They were so flabbergasted when people critically panned it and said it sucked and this and that. Oh, but it's CD Projekt Red and they're beyond, reproach. You can't criticize them that. You can't, you know what I'm saying? That's how they were. And there were people at launch who said that Cyberpunk was a good game. That is just factually wrong. At launch, Cyberpunk was a piece of shit. Even if you had the better version. I played the better version, and it was still shitty. All right? Now, I've heard that they've dramatically made the game better. I don't know. I'm not playing it again. I'm certainly not buying it again. I got a refund 2 years ago. I'm not replaying the game again. I didn't really like it to begin with. You know what it is for me? I don't like the universe of Cyberpunk. I feel like a universe where everything is over-commercialized, everything is sexualized, everyone's body is a fucking screwdriver that's going to go up your asshole. I think it's stupid. I'm like, okay, the first 5 minutes of the game, I'm like, okay, wow, this is unique and interesting. Then the next 20, 30 hours of the same shit hammered in. You know, the 400th time you drive by the billboard to the guy with a giant fucking robot dildo, you're like, okay, I've seen enough. I'm tired of this shit. It's not entertaining or fun anymore. It doesn't even make a statement anymore. It's just tired. That's what I felt like. It felt like it was, okay, commercialism is bad, and smashing you on the head with a frying pan. Like, you ever see the advertisement campaign in the 1990s? This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. You ever seen the one where they fry the eggs? Oh, your brain on drugs is the fried eggs, right? But then they did a sequel to it. Did you ever see the sequel to that ad? So in the sequel to the ad, it's a teenage girl. And she goes, this is your brain. It's an egg. This is your brain on drugs. And she cooks the eggs. Then she goes, and this is what happens to your family and your friends. And she takes the fucking frying pan and she's smashing plates and she's destroying the house and she's wrecking everything around her. And she's going, she's like completely destroys everything. And then she goes, any questions? And then the commercial just ends. And you're like, okay, subtlety, that's fun and makes sense, versus you literally went way over jumping the shark and smashed it into oblivion to the point where it's just not, you lose the message. It's just not entertainment anymore. It's stupid. That's what Cyberpunk is to me. Like, I felt like if they had done it, okay, this is what parts of the universe is or whatever, this and that. But when the entirety of the game just became one subject matter, and it wasn't a particularly interesting one to me, it was really stupid. I didn't really care that much about the plot anymore. There was a few good parts, like I said, with side characters or some of the main companion characters where their plots were interesting. The detective guy, I liked his plot. And then there was like the mystery of the mayor who's been brainwashed and is being mind controlled. That stuff was all interesting to me. But most of the game was boredom and just repetition and a bunch of shit. And I don't even think if they fixed all the game bugs and shit that was prominent when the game came out 2 years ago, I just don't think that it's still a good game. Unless you rewrote the game and totally redesigned the universe from the ground up, I don't see how that game is better. I mean, that's me being honest. So, good for the game on being a big bestseller. I'm glad that there are people who maybe missed out on it originally, who didn't enjoy it because they felt that it was a buggy piece of shit, and everyone shat on the game and said it was crap. All right? So I'm happy. I'm happy that the game is finally getting some attention and prominence again. Good for it. But I really feel like the games media and the journalists out there are completely misrepresenting it for what it is. This is not the redemption story of fucking Cyberpunk at all. How could it be a redemption story when you're selling it for $10? They're not making profit on it. Do you think they're making profit on that game? No. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's being disingenuous, acting like this is some kind of a giant success story. The game is selling for 1/6 of what it was intended to be sold at as a new release 2 years ago. And, it's too little too late. Maybe if they make another Cyberpunk game and this one's not fucking buggy as shit, and they can sell it for full price, and then that's a success story. Not, I sold my game 2 years later for 1/6 of what I was trying to make profit-wise on it, and now there's a lot of people playing it. Big fucking deal. You didn't make... It's not success. You could argue the anime is successful. All right? I would definitely argue that, but I don't know about the game. And that's me. That's my take. You completely disagree with me. That's okay. But I just hate looking at games journalists always turning shit into something it's not. The redemption Cinderella story, right? Of Cyberpunk. It is not a Cinderella story, you fucking idiot. If anything, it's just like, okay, at least I got a few sales. That's nice, but it's not what you're saying it is. You're making it up to be something it's not, okay? Okay, continuing on. AK has tipped me $10. Says hopefully this time I got it. Laughing out loud. I love these chill fishing streams. Thank you to AK for the tip, and that is now our biggest tip of the night. I appreciate that, AK. And incidentally, with that tip, we have actually hit our first goal, which is $50. We're at $58 right now, and that means it is time indeed for the gunner glasses. So thank you for that, AK. I appreciate that so very much. All right. The Snorlax King just tipped me $2 again. He says the latest episode, latest update 1.6 was called the Edgerunner update. It added some content based on the anime. You couple this with the fact that there's a major expansion coming soon, I think there's a real possibility there will be full redemption like No Man's Sky. Well, there you have it. And you know what? If they're going to charge for this expansion, which it sounds like I guess they're going to, right? And maybe they'll make some money. All right? And that'll be good then, actually, for them. And then, you know, then maybe I'd be maybe saying, wow, what a comeback. But right now, this is not a comeback. This is selling your game for an extreme discount to tie in with an anime that everyone likes. That's not success at all. It's actually quite the opposite, in my opinion. So there you go. You can just disagree with me if you think. But, and by the way, some people have asked me, Phil, are you going to be buying the game again to play the DLC? That would be the dumbest thing. So you want me to buy Cyberpunk a second time, even though I didn't like it the first time, to play a DLC for a game I know I don't like? Right? That's like saying, oh, well, Phil, you know you really don't like Street Fighter V, but man, you're just going to buy all those expansion characters, right? No. No, I'm not. I'm actually going to play games I like. I'm not going to be playing Cyberpunk again, and I'm not playing their DLC again. So there you go. Sofa King Hungary, har, did a super chat. Says, Phil, I'm a longtime fan. Been watching the days of Street Fighter 4. Excuse me. And the vanilla Street Fighter 4 days. Can I get a shout out for my cousin Norwood? Shout out to Norwood. And thank you very much, Sofa King Hungry. I hope that you get some food. We are having no luck tonight, are we? We're really having zero luck tonight with the fishing. It's a good thing this stream is not focused on the fishing. Seriously. Because we are not having a good time finding fish tonight. I mean, we've, caught 4? Right? Yes, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core in December. How was dinner? It was good. We had, I'm gonna brain fart. What did we eat for dinner? Oh, pasta. Rigatoni pasta with, marinara sauce and some chicken meatballs, and it was good. All right. There we go. I need to find a good spot. I still have not found one. Oh, this is not good. This is not good. This is terrible. I'm going to destroy my boat tonight. Derek says, time flew by when you were telling your stories. Yeah, I mean, tonight you guys are asking questions that I need to have very long-winded answers for. So, yeah, time flew by. Here we are almost an hour in. I caught like 4 fish, right? Not doing so good in that regard. Shall we try here? I'm really trying every little alcove and inlet here, and I'm just not having any luck. We didn't try the pad crash here. I don't think it's going to work, but I'm going to try it. Melia says, when will we be able to vote on games for the Halloween Marathon? Starting in October. There'll be a thread posted up on the channel page of DSPGaming. And also there will be a members-only section. So there's going to be one for everyone and one for people who are exclusively members. You guys are going to nominate games for about a week or 2. And then what I'm going to do is take the games that have been most commonly nominated. And I'm then going to do a poll you guys will vote on. And that'll determine what games are in the Halloween event. But why jump the gun? We're not even in October yet, right? Jade, no problem. You had fun at the casino, right? He says he's sorry that he wasn't here today. He missed Call of Duty and he really likes it. I don't see real life. He's thinking about getting this game because he likes real life fishing. I mean, here's the thing. I have not done real life fishing since I was a kid. I have no idea if this is anything accurate to real life fishing. What I can tell you is it was one of the more complex fishing games I've played. Usually this is just a mini game in any other game. In this game, it's a major focus. Because that's what you're doing. That's why it's called Bassmaster. And I enjoy it. I like it. It's relaxing. It does have some bugs though. You guys have seen some of the crazy bugs we get. So it's not polished super well, but it is fun. That was an easy one. That is an itty bitty. A bluegill? Bluegill. I recognized it. There you go. I've played enough that I recognize the fish species now. It's pretty crazy, huh? Okay. The Storlax King to $1.50 says, I know Teespring screwed you over. You consider going to a different service to sell merch in the future. Do you feel it's not worth it? I've already explained a couple things. I actually answered this on the podcast the other day. So here's the thing. Number one, I'm not a graphic designer. All right, I'm just not. So if I were to sell merch, I would need someone to step up to the plate and say, hey, you know, I like your content. Maybe I'd like to do some quick, you know, basic designs for you that someone might want on a shirt or something. You know, I'd like to look at it and maybe get some feedback into it. That's basically what happened years ago. When I first started as a full-time streamer in 2017, I had a few of my longest-running fans who were actually good at graphic design, and they contacted me, and they were like, hey, I'd like to make some shirts for you. And I had maybe 3 or 4 people who actually designed shirt logos like this. What I'm wearing right now is one of them, actually. Okay? Can you see it? This is one of the original designs that was designed for my Teespring 5 years ago. Okay? And actually was one of the best-selling designs for about a year until it kind of got old and people didn't really care about the same design anymore, all right? It's a pretty nice design. So yeah, so people did that, and that's essentially what I sold on there. And then after that, over the years, some people would say, hey, here's a new update idea I had or this or that, and I would go back and forth to work with them, and then I would add new designs on the fly over the years. But basically what I said was if I was going to do it, I would wait till much later this year until, number one, the holiday season, and number two, if I feel like maybe there's enough demand and enough positivity towards me that people would want it. Because if I had rushed, the moment that I noticed last year, all right, that my Teespring had been deactivated, if I had rushed to get merch at that point, I think it would have been a horrible idea. This year, if you haven't noticed, I really made a concerted effort to rebrand. There's no more King of Hate or any kind of hate moniker anywhere associated with me anymore. I don't use it. I renamed my channel. Okay, it's all different now. So hopefully, with a year under my belt of not having that association anymore, right? You wouldn't have idiots believing nonsense, but that doesn't mean anything. People can still be pretty dumb. Where people will say, oh, you know, that's the former King of Hate and blah, 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 and then misrepresent who I used to be and shit. Of course. But I felt like I needed some time to pass. I needed to put some effort in this year to rebrand myself a bit and change up, well, people's notions of me. I would definitely say that has happened. I do feel that there's a lot of positivity toward my way these days compared to how it used to be, which is the nice thing. I'll tell you, it's very different now. You come on a stream, you have a lot of people, hey, I'm a long-time viewer, and I want to show you some support, and here's a nice message, and then someone else, oh, someone used to not like you, but now I'm a fan of yours, for you a nice message. I love that. And I've noticed a lot of that this year, like more so than probably in the last 5 years. And that's a very good thing. So I hope, with that positivity being tossed my way, that maybe there'll be some demand for merch or something like that, okay? So there you go. Derek Iverson says maybe it's because your Teespring merch had some skulls on it. Now that's ludicrous. No. That's absolutely ludicrous. Anything with skulls, so no one can ever sell Halloween merch. So no one who's into goth stuff, no one who's into anything like that, anyone who's into metal music. Skulls are a huge part of so much culture. There's no way it had anything to do with skulls. That's ridiculous. No way is that what happened. I don't believe that one for a second. You won $63 and lost 90. Well, that's pretty typical for a casino visit, Jade. You win some, you lose some, and you lose more than you win. That literally makes a lot of sense to me. So, I'm just glad you didn't lose more. Derek, what do you mean? He says, that's why you have an Ask the King show. I'm not sure what you mean. Dude, I'm having 0 luck. This is ridiculous. I can't catch any fish tonight. Maybe this is one of those nights you have to go to a different location and say, screw this. Maybe this is also why we only caught 6% of the fish in Toledo, right? Oh, absolutely, Derek. He says, for answering long questions. Long format questions are always better asked on Ask the King. But, you know, a night like tonight's meant to be a chill night. You know, you want to ask a longer question. I'm okay with that tonight. Okay. An anonymous tipper tipped me $1.50. Said that I hear that Knives Out is going to get a sequel called Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. And they remember hearing me say that I liked the first movie. Yes, and I am aware of that, and I likely would check that one out. I did really enjoy the first movie quite a lot. The character acting as well as the writing. The writing was very well done. So I'd probably like to see the sequel. Although it's not technically a sequel, it's a different mystery, right? A different mystery entirely. Okay. Overpowered Boone says Stream Elements has a merch feature. You can have your stream pop up every time someone buys a shirt. Is that true? Now, they sell merch? That doesn't sound right. There has to be a third-party company making the merch. Like, I understand the concept of a Stream Elements tie-in, where maybe, you know, you set up the merch with Stream Elements. Every time someone clicks the link and buys through the link, now a pop-up occurs and says, oh, congratulations, the shirt was purchased, or something like that, right? But I don't think that they stay there. They're not selling the merch, right? Is it through a third-party company? Because if that's the case, I would definitely like to get some information on the company that they're selling through. Like I said, we're coming around the time, probably it would be November-ish. So number one, if anyone wants to take a stab at a merchandise design, that's number one. And number two, if anyone has any ideas of a place to sell merch, you know, send them my way, and I'd be willing to take a look at that and try to figure it out. Was that a fish? It was, wasn't it? This sucks. I'm getting nothing. Snorlax changed another $2 tip. Have you ever been to Vegas? What are some of the more memorable places you visited over the years? And yes, Glass Onion is the sequel to Knives Out. Coming to Netflix in November, I believe. Only character returning is Daniel Craig. Correct. He's the detective. Everyone else is a different mystery altogether, right? Alright. That sounds interesting to me. I liked Daniel Craig in that role. Particularly, if you want to know the truth, I liked him better in that role than his Bond. I really did. I thought it was like, he really nailed it. So I'd definitely like to see him again in that role. That sounds good to me. Okay, so anyway, Vegas. I've been to Vegas multiple times, but I never been to Vegas. I literally have been to Las Vegas, physically been there, but I've never actually been to Vegas. You might say, what the hell does that mean? I know, because it sounds like I'm an idiot, right? So I went to Las Vegas multiple times, at least 3 times, if not more. I think it was at least 3, because I attended EVO. This is the Evolution Fighting Game Series, the National Championships for Street Fighter. I attended it 2000, the original first EVO, okay? And then I went to EVO 2005, 2006, 2007. So I at least went to Vegas 3 times. I don't think the first EVO was in Vegas. I think it was in California. Oh, good. So I've been to Vegas 3 times, all right? So if I've been in Vegas, how have I not been to Vegas? Because when I went there, I very, 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 very stupidly went there just to play Street Fighter. I did not leave the hotel venue that I was at to play Street Fighter. I literally went to Vegas 3 times and never walked on the Las Vegas Strip. And now I know how stupid that is, okay? But back then, I was so tunnel vision into Street Fighter, and this is what I've told you guys. At that time in my life, I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about any other video games, anything pop culture, just Street Fighter. That was my thing. My life was like competitive Street Fighter. That's how it was in my head. So it's like, oh, I'm in Vegas. I don't care. I'm not going to go down the strip. I'm not going to enjoy one of the gourmet restaurants or see a show. I'm not going to see the lights. I'm not going to take any pictures. I'm not going to look at any landmarks. I'm not going to do any tourism whatsoever. I'm going to fly to Las Vegas and sit in a hotel ballroom, waiting to get my name to be called to play a few times in a tournament. And then I'm going to sit in a hotel room and play Street Fighter against people. And then I'm going to sit there and play on a cabinet. And then I'm going to waste my fucking life. I'm an idiot. Now I know that. But now, you know, I'm older and I'm wiser and now I get that. Because now I kick myself in the ass. I'm like, dude, I absolutely positively would have loved to go to Las Vegas now and had a nice vacation with my wife and enjoyed it and saw the sights and do that. And now I can't. Now I don't have the flexibility. I don't have the finances. I can't do that. So now I hate on myself because I'm an idiot, right? Who did that. And essentially I really feel like shit. I do. I feel like shit because there was a time in my life when I could have had that life experience of doing something unique that people aspired to do. And I was there 3 fucking times. I didn't do it because I'm an idiot. That's pretty bad. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty embarrassing to today admit how dumb I was when I was younger in my 20s. All right? No, I don't feel like shit because I didn't gamble. I feel like shit because I didn't take in the sights. I was in one of the major touristy areas of the entire year. Or entire world, I mean. One of the places that everyone wants to go. One of the places that you see in movies all the fucking time. How many movies are made in Las Vegas or about Las Vegas or have a Vegas segment? And I didn't even bother to see it for myself because I'm a fucking idiot. I remember one year I was there with John Rambo. It was 2007. And it was very hot because, you know, he was in the middle of the summer. I said to Rambo, let's go outside. We took one step outside. It was hot. And we both said, it's too hot. Let's go back in. I'm serious. We went to Las Vegas expecting it not to be hot in the summer. And then we refused to actually go and do anything on the strip because it was too fucking hot. Just dumb. Dumb. I would do anything. I would give anything.
Any records with that one, but it's a solid keeper. Cha-chunk, cha-ching.
Cha-chunk, cha-ching. I keep forgetting that's my new catchphrase. Cha-chunk, cha-ching. But anyway, if I could go back in time to that time and walk out of a time portal in front of myself in Vegas in the 2000s, I would grab myself by the neck and wring my own young neck and say, you fucking idiot, leave this hotel, stop caring about this dumb game that's not going to get you anywhere in life, go out there and enjoy fucking life, go see the sights, do the fun stuff that people want to do, and you had the chance to be here 3 times and you didn't do it. Then I would take my hand and I would slap my rotund, fat 20s face just like this, and I would be so flabbergasted in my 20s. I would look at my oldest like, what the fuck? Khajiit Glorious Leaders to me $2 said, I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate your streams. They've got me through some rough times, especially chill streams. Shout out to Jasper and Kat. Thank you so much to Khajiit Glorious Leader. That is a nice thing to say, and I appreciate the support. Thank you very much. My keyboard's not working. Okay. Awesome. And by the way, I got into so many explanations, I forgot to split the part. Let me split the part for YouTube. Oops.